The final match of the night is upon us, and if we can tell anything from tonight, everything is going out the window today. Every team is playing their heart out. That's kind of what we expected teams to be playing their heart out, but on paper, what we were expecting is not happening. So, Panthera versus Revival now, all of a sudden, could Revival bring that 3-0 sweep that they're hoping for to gain a draw, a three-way draw at the bottom to potentially put them back in contention for a spot in playoffs? That is the biggest reach you have to make, Pap, but Revival could make it. The multiverse
is reaching right now. It's tearing itself apart for something like that. I mean, look, Revival, they've only won a single map in this whole series. So for them to come right around and pick themselves back up and get a 3-0 into Panthera, it's unlikely, but of course, as you just said, we saw Zero take out an exceptionally strong poker face. But the thing is, at least Zero had proven themselves in their bracket. They were second, and they just got first from being the best. What we thought originally was the best of the best. Panthera has the opposite. They started out not winning almost a single map, but now that they are coming back up again, as we see another match preview, who wrote the script? A 3-0 win for Revival will trigger a three-way tiebreaker match for playoffs, which, needless to say, is an exciting one because that means that only one person can go through. FM can rise from the dead and see if they have another shot at it, but it's really all up to Panthera for stopping such a thing to happen from happening.
Listen, I mean, every script has been thrown out of the window tonight, and potentially this script could be the one that comes true in the sense of a 3-0 win for Revival, if that's the script. Technically, I guess the script is Panthera win, just based, once again, on paper, Panthera should be the stronger team, but Revival, I just feel like after seeing these last two matches that happen, it instills a lot of hope into Revival of being like, look, this is the one.
Yeah, it's kind of like if Revival win, it's like one of those low-budget horror films that just happen to work and get the studio a lot of money, or be so bad that it turns into a cult classic. Can Revival turn themselves into a cult classic where they started out really bad, but then turned themselves around, managed to make it onto at least a three-way tiebreaker? And I mean, even then though, that means they got to beat FM again. They've already lost FM 1-3, and so we're looking at their opponents first, Panthera.
Yeah, and Panthera has such a solid crew. I mean, Becky is crazy on the Tracer and the Genji, hidden as well. Just
exceptional hit scan.
On Eddie.
Holy smokes.
Eddie hit scan.
Yeah, literally.
Will go off. And Arpen, of course, a solid tank. They've certainly looked like they've cleaned up their act a lot and are performing to the level that we were expecting at the start of this season.
Yeah, Arpen had a lot of struggles into the tanks of Pokerface and also Zero, but once they switched over to the more, I suppose, meta comps of the Jungle Queen, of Orisa, a little bit of Zara as well, that's where Arpen really started to shine. And of course, the others develop and slay as well in their backline, getting all those kills on Alari and also Baptiste too that we've been seeing so much of. And here is Revival. And now after yesterday, they're going to be feeling a little bit down. Can they pick themselves up? Can the wind blow in their favor as Windy is still on that DPS with Hofak? And Vision's going to be your tank for tonight.
I feel like this series is going to be a DPS battle of the ages. Like, I think Windy and Hofak are going to be putting in so much work to try and shut down Panthera's DPS line. And I mean, it's going to be a hard fight. Hidden and Becky are just so phenomenal.
They are. They're absolutely crazy. Like, Becky's Tracer is just... it's just so known in the Contenders scene. And yes, we haven't seen too much Tracer except for Jwoo when Jwoo brought it out, and even Finale had to go at it too. So maybe we might see a little bit more of that Becky Tracer. But when Becky went onto the Genji, especially with Arpen on the Zarya, they got as many kills as we've been seeing with like the likes of Top Dragon, the likes of Spin. So going into Ilios to begin with.
And Ilios is such a fun map once again. We see a lot of different playstyles coming out, but I think we probably will be seeing a little bit of that tried and true Zarya. As we said before, Panthera kind of read the patch notes a little bit. They know how good Zarya is now. We'll see whether Revival tries to match it. When we watched them yesterday against Pokerface, they tried to play the Orisa quite a lot, and they played a very slow play style, very slow poke, and it just did not work in their favor. But as you said, we have actually had a swap in tank. We've got Vision instead of Ruler. Maybe that's gonna be the change.
Now, personally, I do not know. I haven't seen Vision yet hit the field, so we don't know what tanks, what heroes they like to play. I would love to see a double Winston. It might be a bit unlikely, but Arpen certainly loves to bring it out, and that's what happened in the first couple of games that they played. But maybe against Revival, we might see a revival of this Winston comp. Of course, Becky and Winsy will be going head-to-head on that Echo. It's really down to whether Hidden, and Hofak want to swap to.
It looks like we're getting Winstons out of both gates. This looks like just some fun Overwatch. Both teams have respected each other, said, who cares about the meta? Let's have some fun. Look at it. This is like synchronized dive. Is that synchronized swimming? Whatever it's
synchronized
called.
Swimming.
That was beautiful. Both Winstons jumping at the same time. Unfortunately for Vision, not quite working out the way they wanted. Hidden and Hofak going on that Tracer battle, but it looks like Panthera are the ones coming out on top as they're going to get first cap.
It was synchronized to a point. It just so happened that Vision was the Winston to be shut down pretty quickly as well. That's why you have Fiesta on to the Brig to really protect Jinsung. Of course, Play is there to protect Develop too, but immediately Arpen on the high ground, forcing Vision into jump away.
Those counter dives are strong from Panthera. Hofak did try going for a little bit of a back cap, but Slay is waiting to just zone you away. Arpen wants to punish Jinsung here, and Jinsung's gonna get punched by Hidden Pulse Bomb now onto Vision. Vision cleaned up by Arpen, and once again, Revival right back to spawn.
That was really that was just clean from Panthera. There's nothing else to really say. Need I say how good Panthera would be on dive? They've had so much experience with it in other Contenders series. They went head-to-head as well with O2 Blast, nearly reverse sweeping them as well with this Monkey, with the Tracer as well. So, yeah, it's hard for Revival to try and match it. And right now, it's a struggle, but they do have Nano.
This duplicate could be big. It's going to be on Jinsung, the Bio Nade, putting it a little bit harder for Revival to survive. However, those sticky bombs shut down the dupe. Arpen now trying to primal rage this Ana off the map. Jinsung getting completely bullied by the Monkey, but managing to survive. Fiesta, the whip shot. Arpen's gone. No Winstons on either side. However, Revival won't be able to approach without that Winston.
That was a really nice boop, actually. The fact that Jinsung survived makes sure a Nano goes onto Windy.
Windy's surviving thanks to that Nano. Managing to stay alive from the pain that Becky is trying to cause here. Now Point being controlled by Revival. They get the point flip at the 99 seconds. Pulse Bomb comes out. It's going to take out Fiesta. Panthera want to take this fight back. And quickly, Hofak feeling the pain Hidden can bring, and Point already flipping back to Panthera thanks to just where they're taking the fight. Hofak falls, and Panthera looking good. Vision taking control of Point, but it won't be for long as now Vision is all that is left.
Yeah, Vision does have Primal. You're going to pop it really just to burn some time, burn the clock, hope for the rest of Revival to be able to come back, but it's on overtime. I don't even know if they're going to touch again. Nah. As Panthera, they will take Lighthouse pretty convincingly, really, all things considered. As I said, their dives are always going to be so clean. So as we move on to maybe a less divey one, really depends. Ruins you can still dive in, whereas Well is more of a poke battle. So as we move into Ruins, we could see either poke or still the Winston dive as here comes a Becky play.
Yeah, I mean, Revival managed to get point back for a bit. It sort of feels like how Revival plays. They manage to just get it in time, but then cannot solidify anything big. If Revival just clean up a few of those plays, keep together, kind of follow around that Winston, they might be able to win Ruins here.
Again, it's almost like they're like, all right, what are we going to play on Ruins together? We're going to play exactly the same team comps. We've got Hofak and Hidden going head to head, and Hidden, we know how amazing their Widowmaker, of course, can be. I wonder if Hofak's up to the task, as Becky's on that Trace that we all know that they can play so well.
Both these Winstons are going to make the Widowmaker's lives a little bit harder, but Hofak being the first to fall is bad news for Revival. There's no Revival for Hofak until they respawn here, and because of that, Panthera, they're going to want to take control of point, completely cover it, and make it hard for Revival to gather up. Windy now taken out, and that is going to be the fullback regroup called.
That was basically which Widow died first, and that just opened up the entire field for somebody like Hidden. Even though they didn't get any kills, it's still that pressure of knowing that a Widowmaker is on their side and not yours. So Becky now and Arpen on the top, looking for the cheeky pick.
Probably going to throw that pulse bomb down onto these three here, not quite landing onto anybody, so it's not going to lead to too much in the pick department here. Windy, though, getting whip-shotted away, so also cannot go in as much as they were hoping here. Hidden hasn't popped off, but has just brought that pressure, made it harder for Revival to approach here. Vision getting slept here, Pap. That is just so difficult for Revival to take any fights, and Arpen takes payment because of it.
That was such a long fight as well for Revival to not win. And hang on, that's a big stat. I mean, look, I can't call it really a stagger, I suppose, but they still have to wait quite a while for Vision to respawn, as 60% now for Panthera. It's quickly turning into nearly a last fight. Not quite. You still have Develop, though, with that Nano. Of course, Arpen as well with the Primal Rage. And Revival with exactly the same things. It's really just the Pulse Bomb.
Pulse Bomb not leading to too much, unfortunately, for Windy here. Vision gets taken down by Becky's Pulse Pistols, just burning through. Hidden headshot onto Windy. Pulse Bomb from behind. The Nano Rally Fiesta trying to be life of Revival, but it's just not there. And now 86% Pap. It's down to Vision to touch.
Yeah, it really is, though. They do have the Primal Rage. There's a bit of deja vu from Lighthouse. Can they go for it? Yes. Panthera, though, they don't have any ultimates. This is Revival's biggest chance.
Vision just stalling it out, but it does not matter as the people coming out of spawn are getting killed by Arpen. Arpen now trying to come back. There's actually Fiesta and Vision take down Develop here, but it's all for naught ultimately as Panthera come back and quite convincingly win Ilios 2-0.
I love how Arpen's just still so far forward in Ruins as well, just still in the building, even though there are 2 or 3 of Revival. Arpen just knows that the rest of the team can deal with the stragglers on the point and just give time and space for all the other people from Revival as they're coming back. They just get dove on, and it just gets harder and harder. And we can see just how well Panthera can play when it is something like a dive. This is what they've been missing this whole time.
Yeah, this is what Panthera wanted to play. Revival definitely wanted to play it too. It looks like they were both just like, screw the meta, who cares anymore? Let's just do what we enjoy. And yeah, fair enough. You want to have fun when you're playing a video game, and Overwatch is no different. Sometimes the meta just doesn't sit in your comfort zone, and so both teams are definitely happy with getting to just play that Winston dive. Panthera definitely happy coming out on top.
Yeah, I mean, seeing those traces going in with the Winstons, always a joy to see it. Is to see the dive composition because you know how much communication it really takes when you have 2 or 3 or teams in your team itself to split in half. So, how does Panthera go against the Revival choice of the next map? And we'll see right after this.
Panthera coming out with quite the convincing first map win on Ilios. Now moving into the map choice of Revival. Are Revival going to be able to pick something that is going to make Panthera uncomfortable?
Make him sweat a little bit under the collar because that was not a sweaty match for Panthera. That was just very bread. I like my bread. I like it with some butter, and I like some jam on top. And they got exactly what they wanted. It wasn't too crispy. The jam wasn't somehow off or spilled. It was very, very clean from Panthera. As Revival, they're gonna pick King's Row, and after trying to match a dive, I don't know, they're going to try and now match a more brawly comp, a more Zarya Genji-centered comp, or are they going to try the dive on King's Row, which, look, I know I'm going back in time a little bit here, but we saw a lot of Winston, actually, in the summer series, and that's where Winston somehow managed to work on King's Row, but I do want to throw that up in the air now with all the changes, of course, that has happened since, and the fact that Zarya is just, and Sigma, of course, are just so strong.
Now, with our subs that are coming in from Revival, we might have an answer. Ruler is going to be coming in and Vision is out. Ruler, we have seen running a bit more of the Orisa, a bit more of, it looks like Sigma at this point. So, yeah, opting to not play that dive here on King's Row.
Yeah, opting to go like more pokey. Hofak might go onto instead of the Widow, instead they will go onto the Hanzo for the Sonic Arrow, see it where everybody is at. Ruler, interesting. If they do go the Sig, you don't see Sig on attack too often. You more often see, of course, the Zarya or the Orisa here. But yeah, I guess if you want to somehow shut down Becky, that's one way to do it with a big rock. And this is cheeky if they are going to stay up there. No, Ruler. No, they're going to go Zar. a bit more normal, I suppose you could say, on the attack. It was quick little picks from Hofak, seeing if they could see and get anybody quickly from spawn. Doesn't seem like it.
Pap, I just want to say great job. I was going to sneeze, and you kept talking long enough for me to cancel the sneeze. So
I was like, I noticed you were quiet for 0.5 seconds, and I was like, he's doing something. I got you covered. Anyway, Becky now trying to survive here, get a bit of pressure onto Revival as they were anteed up a little bit from Develop, and looks to take the high ground here.
Yeah, for Revival here, it is all going to be about pathing, trying to get in onto this high ground, take it away from Panthera. Hidden, however, trying to make it hard to enter in. Arpen taking out Hofak, certainly going to make it a little bit harder for Revival to enter. And look where Panthera are going, right to your spawn door, sending you back, saying, no, don't you come here.
This is our objective, Revival. Don't be rude, as Windy is falling mightily low there, just getting back to the safety of their team, and Becky playing like a bit like Top Dragon, excuse me, going so aggressive, but it's actually Windy to get punished first.
You can't be having these first couple of deaths here. You cannot be the first to fall. It makes it so much harder for Revival to enter into any kind of fight.
Yeah, these constant little picks, right? A constant, not staggers per se, but it certainly burns the clock off like staggers do. And Revival looking for a pick, looking for a way to get in, but Ruler struggling.
Here we go, Wendy now. Putting a bit of pressure onto Becky. Becky on this Genji. Not letting Wendy get any value. Amplification matrix from Ruler. Not leading to too much. Panthera can just hide around corners. But Revival have gained a bit of space now. They can finally jump onto this point and start progressing it. They might gain a tick, except everyone's jumped off. Fiesta got back on. But now there is a bit of a stall there from Panthera. Becky taking down Windy with the help of Develop, and Revival. You are not getting a tick, at least not right now.
Man, Panthera, they were so patient there, Apara. They pushed in so hard, Revival, and yet Becky and the rest, they were just happy to wait them out and poke them from above. Yes, Becky does fall, but ultimately, Ruler's kind of just stuck in the back line here. No teammates, no support. But honestly, without the Genji, there's nothing we can really do except grabs their team.
Oh, I've been really saying, look, Ruler, I'm leaving your team in spawn. But now, because that grab didn't lead to any kills, Revival can start entering in. Becky, though, with the blade, taking down Hofak. Windy does even it up, but it doesn't matter because Becky is on a roll. And once again, Ruler is just stuck in their backline. How are you going to get out?
I don't think you can. However, this is actually a lot of pressure all of a sudden for Arpen. Slay coming in just to help finish off Ruler, as now the timer is down to 1 minute. Apara, and man, Revival, they have a couple of ults at least, right? You've got Ruler, who's finally at their spawn instead of the other spawn, with a grab. You've also got Windy as well with a blade. So those two in combination, you'd hope as well that Bob, Hofak still struggling to build up that Bob, now at 84% here.
Bob came out, and it's just going to make Revival's entrance so much harder. You just have to wait the Bob out, but you can't wait when Becky is chasing you down. This is devastating news for Revival now, as Panthera right in your spawn, and there's 20 seconds left.
Yeah, Hidden's Bob really was there just for artistic purposes more than anything else, as Arpen and Becky were able to push right on in. Fiesta now, the only hope to really touch last second, does get bubbled. The touch is successful.
Bob now running out onto point here. Ruler's grab takes out Arpen. Windy's blade, scaring away Panthera, but no one touched. Oh they forgot to get on the point.
Guys. You got Arpen, well done, but the point is very important. Oh no, Revival, they had that more or less. I know the Lucio was scared off though, of course, for I think it was Jinsung, or no, it was Fiesta, excuse me. But oh man, that Genji not being able to touch last second either. Windy, they'd like their dash back, I'm sure, as now all Panthera have to do is take a single tick.
That was heartbreaking. I just don't.
That far out.
You cannot revive that. Now Revival have put themselves in a draw position. They cannot get a map win here. They can only play for a draw, and Panthera just need 1 tick. It's genuinely heartbreaking, because that did look like the opportunity for Revival to finally get that game, that point, that King's Row into their favor.
Yeah, no, that was definitely the closest that they ever got there. We were pointing out the ultimates before that fight even started. You had that the Genji blade alongside the grab, and the grab was perfect too, shutting down Arpen, but the blade, 1, didn't get any kills, so that means you didn't get any dash resets, and then 2, got a little bit too deep in the weeds of trying to kill Panthera and kind of left the objective. Now, Panthera, I thought for a second we were going to see that Doomfist as always, but no, they're going a little bit more cookie cutter with the Zarya. However, Revival, they are going to actually stick to the Sigma this time around. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Windy caught out. That is not a great way to open up this defense for Revival. Now Panthera just need to clean up these last 4 players from Revival. Windy, rightfully so, swapping onto the Tracer. We'll see if they get back on time. It looks like they will, because the picks just are not following up for Panthera at the moment. They need to speed up this this fight if they want to get a quick win. Becky taking down Jinsung now. A huge opening. Fiesta falling low. Becky doing all the work for Panthera here as Hofak's getting chased down. Becky, please, someone call an ambulance, because Revival needs some help here. That is Panthera very cleanly getting King's Row.
Wow. That was so clean. We were talking about Becky's Genji beforehand, how, like, yes, they are an incredible tracer. Do not get me wrong. But when they are allowed to just pop off on the Genji, they are up there with one of the greats, in my opinion. The speed and the aggression from PANTHERA just was never matched from Revival here. So, I mean, look, we are moving on to Flashpoint, which is, as we always say, does split the timelines in half, might make something out of nothing. But at this point in time, though, PANTHERA are looking very, very strong to take it all the way. So we can see if they do just that after this break.
PANTHERA are up 2-0, and chat, if you know someone from PANTHERA and you want to get more drops, you might need to ask them to lose a couple of matches here, because at this rate, PANTHERA are looking good to get the 3-0. However, we're entering into Flashpoint. This is where matches can turn completely on their heads, Pap.
PANTHERA, they need to pump the brakes. Revival, they need a defibrillator and fast. Can they get it? Dad in Flashpoint here, as whatever map we do choose to go on will, of course, determine how Revival want to play this potentially last map of Flashpoint. We have no subs from either side, so that means, I suppose, that we're not looking for a Winston, at least from Revival. I suspect, again, the Zarya and the Sigma, even though the Sigma's not really seen. Perhaps we'll see, again, that Arista that we saw from yesterday. But PANTHERA, man, they are looking so strong that whatever map choice is chosen, I think that they will still be very comfortable.
Now, I do just want to say, in terms of placement on the group staging now, because of that first loss at the very start, there is no draw potential. So we can't have that three-way tie, unfortunately, for Revival. But it also means that the only thing that's going to be played for here now is dignity. Revival are trying to get something out of this here, trying to show that, you know, we can take a map, we can get a map here and there, get that experience. That's ultimately what they're looking for, as they're going to be picking New Junk City as their map.
So New Junk City, very brawly, more like Savasta, whereas you see more of like the Milgaras with their balls, or the KSGs as well on Savasta. So New Junk City, we are expecting stuff like Orisa, stuff like Zarya as well, with the Windy on Genji. But I mean, excuse me, at the moment, Becky is just far out surpassing whatever Windy's trying to put into their opponents.
And I mean, New Junk City, we've seen a few times here, and it is a back and forth map. We usually see it go 3-2, so Revival really hoping they can pull something out of the bag here to be the 3 number out of that 3-2.
They do, like you said, they want to leave Contenders with a little bit of dignity. They have not done too well against any of their opponents, but like I said before, making it as far as they have, just getting into Contenders in the first place, getting this experience with the greats, with teams that like PANTHERA that have been in and out of Contenders, mostly in, let's be honest. So now that we're coming out, this is it. Can Revival bring it back? Hofak and Windy onto, instead of the Genji, we're actually going to see a Reaper made just to try and slow down Becky.
I think, yeah, and also you make it so hard for this rush that PANTHERA wanted to do. In fact, Revival's going to be the one rushing down Arpen, immediately taken out, and Revival look revived. That was so strong.
Well, I did say get the defibrillator stat, and they certainly did. Apparently, the guy that's all about death was the one to do it, taking out Arpen. Immediately, Arpen's like, you know what, stuff this. I'm going over to the Doomfist.
Is it going to be enough to break apart Revival? That's the big question now. This Doomfist onto Windy, having to jump away just to survive. Becky wanting to get in on someone, but Hofak is just zoning Becky out. Becky managing to survive a little bit, and Arpen took down Jinsung, but Hidden gets caught out. Ruler now gone to Arpen, putting in the Lord's work there, and that is gonna be Arena going back to, well, going to PANTHERA, not quite back yet.
No, Panthera, they don't want to relinquish it either, so they don't want it to go back anywhere. They want to keep it for as long as they can. Revival. Now, they did take at least a couple of percentage, got to 50%. Jingsung as well, very close to that coalescence for the next push-up. And without a Zarya as well, it does make Becky's job, I'd say, significantly harder. But Becky's still such an incredible Genji.
Yeah, Becky doesn't care. Becky will just blade. Becky will just throw it out. Who cares about a coalescence right in front of you? You can take out Jinsung with our pen.
Oh my goodness.
Sure, once again, taking down Hidden. Hidden feels like the forgotten child of Panthera at the moment. They're just like, yeah, it's just over there doing their own thing. We're winning the game.
It's so true though. It's like, oh yeah, Hidden does exist. I forgot it because Becky's just been popping off so much, taking out Fiesta, and now I don't know, dude. Does Revival touch? Fiesta was the last to fall, so that means the Lucio will be a little bit further behind than the rest of them, and Panthera's been very aggressive.
Meteor Strike. Gonna be protected thanks to that Suzu, but in fact falls very shortly after, and Arena's going to Panthera. I mean, Revival looked good at the start. If they can clean it up again, they might be able to take another point.
Yeah, yes. I mean, Arpen has just been popping on this Doomfist so far, and getting into the backline with Becky instead of the Zarya just bubbling and it's all on Becky. Arpen is assisting this time round of hopefully not getting Becky headshot. There you go, Hofak first to get a pick this time round again. So can they make a push onto the objective?
Yeah, I mean, Revival should have an opening to try take bomb flaps before Panthera cap, but they're just playing so slow and sort of secretly Hidden now.
Hey, Hidden.
Says, remember me, taking down 2 with that overclock and nano window. With D, sorry. Just getting into the cryo freeze to stall out, but Panthera do take bomb flats
Hidden
first.
came out of the shadows and were like, hey guys, I can also DPS real good as well. Not to be left out there as, yeah, Revival though, coming back into this next fight. They have almost every single ult, and apart from Jinsung, who's also very, very close. So there's going to be a huge anti-nade in the back, actually, potentially. And boom, there you go.
There it is, Becky's blade takes out Fiesta thanks to the Bionade, the Blizzard, however, and the Death Blossom from Hofak taking down 2 Rulers grab as well. 3 ults committed to win Bond Flat's cap. Not even the map point yet.
No, I mean, they've got at least some percentage coming up, but as you said, they had to commit both DPS ult and the Tsar as well just to shut down Arpen and their aggression. Speaking of which, Arpen very close to the Meteor Strike, so they can go in even harder without worrying about being punished.
Arpen just trying to find the opening Panthera needs to go in and get bomb flats back, but at the moment they are just feeling a lot of pressure. Kitsune rush now from Jinsung, gonna make it a little bit harder for Panthera to confirm those shots as they just speed around. However, Becky and Arpen are just putting in so much work trying to make it happen. Now Panthera, they have to fall back a little bit. They could not displace Revival enough. Nano is online though, so Develop's going to throw it onto Arpen here. Hofak gets taken out, and now the Ruler's going to follow the bubble. Keeps him alive a little bit longer, but that is all she wrote as bomb flats go back to Panthera.
Yeah, no, Panthera played that really well, just backing up, letting Revival use that beat there, and then re-engaging, especially with all that health. And Arpen, they don't even want Revival out of their spawn. They want to get this objective so fast. Becky will help too. They have that blade. Windy now actually switched off and onto the Genji as they'll be looking to go in with those bubbles.
Just managing to touch there, but Becky's blade is going to once again just make it harder to keep that consistent stabilization on point. 3 are gone by Becky. Hofak now getting chased down. Becky wanting to get a 4th here and then potentially ensure bomb flats goes. Panthera's away, and that's enough. It works out. Panthera get bomb flats.
Oh, this is the final final opportunity for Revival to take anything away from Panthera and stay in this series. But man, Panthera making all these switches over. This Doomfist is working so well that Revival can't answer it. Like, yes, Ruler, you'd think with the bubbles, but now that you have Becky, it's like, who do you bubble? Do I bubble Windy so they can go in hard, or do I bubble my supports who are getting dove?
Trying to go in the back area of Refinery. Arpen making Ruler's life just a little bit more difficult here. Becky pumping a little bit of damage, and everyone from Revival are just being punched around by Arpen. Arpen does fall thanks to Fiesta and the Disruptor Shot. Grab now onto Slay. Slay rallies just to survive it, and you know what? Fair enough. Hidden, just shooting from the side, trying to stay alive. Becky taking down Jinsung. Point has gone to Panthera, and now they just want to get these last few picks and try take this Flashpoint nice and strongly.
Yeah, Windy also falls. Ruler soon to go as well. Becky felt falling back just a little bit for Develop to heal them up. And speaking of Develop, has the nano for the next fight. Will it go on to Hidden again? Or Arpen now having some fun on the Wrecking Ball, which you don't see too often on New Junk City. But you know what? Why not on such an open point? Boot everybody away, help Becky to get in safer. And with this possible overclock from Hofak. Let's go.
Hidden's overclock as well, though. Whose is going to be bigger? It looks like it's Hidden's. It takes out Windy's blade. Finds Jinsung. Hidden just on an absolute tear here. And with that, Panthera is going to win our Flashpoint. 3-0. The whole series going their way. I mean, it looks like Ruler's going to try to manage to get a touch. I called it too soon. I did not think that was going to happen there, Pap. But will it enough as Hofak gets taken down? Becky, you get this goal, but ultimately
2 HP. Oh my goodness, Ruler just got out of that one. Touch last second from Windy. Will it be possible with the blade coming out from Becky? I just don't think it will, as Becky will finish off the last couple of members of Revival, and that will be a very clean 3-0 from Panthera, securing their spot into the playoffs.
Yeah, making sure they definitely deserve that third place spot. Panthera are our winner for the series, and what a way to win, you know, being able to just really confidently sort of speedrun through the maps, get those wins nice and easily. Revival, they really did put their all into it. They never gave up. They kept on going, but ultimately it did go Panthera's way.
Yeah, no, Panthera just simply too strong for Revival there, and they've played exceptionally well. I also loved how from both sides, we saw different comps than we've been seeing tonight and all the other nights. It's lovely to see a Winston from both sides there, and oh man, but Panthera consistently strong throughout it, and who else but Becky, who was definitely their strongest.
Oh yeah, I mean, Becky just had so many amazing blades, and Becky just played with style. Masterclass on Genji. This is what you want to see when you're running a Genji here, is just going and taking out backlines, popping big blades, finding 3-4 players for yourself, and really upping your stats.
Bolstering them at this point, because yes, every blade that Becky had used, even if they didn't have it, you still had those nanos as well, which were crucial too. And who can forget as well, Arpen just helping Becky get into the back lines, into the forward lines as well. I mean, stuff it. Becky just went all in everywhere, and great matches. I mean, one massive upset really for Pokerface, who were looking to take a very clean sweep across the entire series, but Zero really drove a stake directly into Pokerface's heart, burnt all the cards in front of them, but JNGK nearly had it. I know it's 3-1, but man, that was a lot closer than we first expected. Dreamers, though, ended up taking that one, and then as we just saw, of course, Panthera took that one 3-0 against Revival.
And that is going to end our round robins as well for the full series career. The round robins are now done. We're entering into the playoffs, and unfortunately that means 4 teams are out of contention, and that is going to be FM, Revival, Euphoria, and Lemix FC. All 4 of those teams we will not see in the playoffs, but they certainly put their hearts into it in every match they played. It was very entertaining to watch. Meanwhile, our playoffs, they're happening next weekend. Next Friday is when they start here, Pap.
Yes, so that is when the next stream is, Friday week.
No. For
no.
Korea, there's an APAC stream next Wednesday.
I was about to say, hang on stream, but there is next Wednesday. And that is Apara and I, are going to take you on a journey for the APAC finals. And man, you and I absolutely love the APAC region so much. We fell in love with it almost instantly as we started casting earlier this year in Contenders, and I do not miss that at all. And then, of course, yes, Korean Contenders, that will start up a little bit later.
Yeah, we've still got more Overwatch coming to you next week. It's all going to be very, very exciting. And APAC and Korea, it's all going to come to a close with those matches. And I mean, what stories have been told so far? You know, the 0 upset, PANTHERA going from a really rough week to turning it around. Can they now push through the playoffs and sort of redeem themselves and redeem their name? Can Dreamers continue going on a sweep, not being... A really interesting stat, 0 and Dreamers, both the teams that have not lost a match here. So, which team will be the one to go down at this point? There are a lot of questions, as we can see looking at these standings, that are going to be answered. Dreamers sitting just a little bit higher with that +10 compared to 0's +8. There is so much that can happen with the full series.
I mean, look at the difference as well between Group A and Group B. Like the disparity between second on Group A and then second in Group B. I mean, it's +7 against +2. So SPG and JNGK, great teams in their own rights, but those two have maybe equal to PANTHERA the most to prove, as both brackets will get smushed together. How well will they go against the likes of Pokerface, who will be extremely unhappy with their performance today against 0 and will definitely want some sort of redemption. And then, yes, as you said, PANTHERA, man, they've just they had their revival. It was really PANTHERA's revival all along, and here's the playoffs. Keep in mind, this is KST to all our American fellows over there. It will be the 6th of the 10th, the 7th of the 10th. That's when you and I are actually going at it on Saturday. And then finally, the grand finals will be at the WDG Esports Studio. That will be on the 8th of the 10th on a Sunday. And that's where we're beginning with SPG and PANTHERA, and then Pokerface and JNGK. Those two are going to be, I reckon SPG and PANTHERA, they're going to be really close over.
There are some very exciting matchups that are going to be happening here. I mean, if Pokerface beat GNGK, they'll be going up against Dreamers. But if GNGK beat Dreamers, they get that opportunity for revenge, you know. GNGK nearly beat Dreamers. They know now how Dreamers play, and if they clean up some of their act, GNGK could be able to take them down. And GNGK can even see that Pokerface are not immortal like they looked. They're not even top seed anymore, so
as well. Like, yes, they have swept, but at the same time, maps were taken off them. They looked a little bit rocky against JNGK. So, as you said, looking for that revenge. Can they bring it forward? As yes, that's your matchups for Friday.
Oh man, but yeah, we've had some great matches so far, Pap. We've had some incredible pop-offs from all sorts of different heroes and players. It's been a lot of fun, Pap. Have you taken away anything from our career round robins?
What I love about both Korean and APAC is that you always start with a meta, and then it's just so interesting to see how it develops, how different heroes end up being played more. Like, we did see a little bit of Sim towards the beginning, but it wasn't like that crazy. But now we're even seeing Sim on stuff like Midtown. We're seeing, just so that you can get over all that walking that we were seeing in the hallway. How do we do it? Well, we just TP. So we're seeing a lot of rented apartments in Midtown. That place is absolutely going gangbusters right now. And then, of course, course, we're seeing a little bit of that Reinhardt from, I know it didn't really work out too well. And then we saw a lot more Doomfist towards the beginning, but that's really been cut out. So it's so good, interesting to me how, you have coaches and the players really thinking about how best to play as this meta develops. And that's exactly what they're going to have to do across this next week until they get to play again.
Yeah, I really love that as well. Seeing that meta develop, seeing what players manage to kind of find that perfect strategy, whether it is the Genji pick or the Reaper pick or running Bastion and just burning down the competition.
Yeah. Oh.
We've seen it all here through Korea and of course on APAC as well. So certainly it has been a wild ride. And it's not done yet.
Not at all. Also, I know I keep doing a little bit of a shout out, but we did try a little bit harder this time with our shirts. Almost like a yin and yang, I'd say. Like the white and the black. It looks really nice. It looks good. It's good. But I think also it's like you started with Bastion, and then it was like maybe four days where it just went down, and then it's just suddenly this resurgence of the Bastions come up, especially how we saw Dreamers and Sad doing so well with them. And going into this Korean and APAC contenders, I truly was not expecting Genji as much. I thought, okay, they're not really playing dive, this is usually where you see this Genji, but that's the awesomeness of the Genji and the Zarya together.
Now, that is all from us for tonight, but don't forget the APAC Fall Series Grand Finals will be happening next week on the Wednesday. If you're in America, I believe it is Tuesday.
Probably.
So,
very early on Tuesday.
Yeah, nice
something like early. That. Something fun, fun time.
But thank you all so much for coming, and we will see you next week.
Stay hydrated.